I tested a $30 Amazon bestseller against a $600 commercial beast to see if the price gap is a scam or a necessity. Real talk, most vacuum sealers fail within a year, not because of the motor, but because of one specific flaw in the heating strip. I've put 5 top-rated models through the ringer, sealing everything from dry kibble to messy marinades, to find out which one actually survives real-world use. The winner? It brings a commercial-grade feature into your home kitchen for a fraction of the price, and it completely changed my meal prep game.
Buying guide. Before we dive into the rankings, here are 3 traps you need to avoid so you don't waste your money. First, stop obsessing over suction power and look at the seal bar width. A single thin seal line is the #1 cause of freezer burn, because if one crumb breaks that line, the seal fails. You want a machine that offers a double seal or a wide heating strip, which acts as an insurance policy for your food. Second, consider your duty cycle. The spec sheet won't tell you this, but many budget sealers overheat and shut down after just 5 to 10 consecutive bags. If you buy bulk meat from Costco and plan to seal 50 pounds at once, you need a machine with a heavy-duty cooling system, or you'll be waiting 20 minutes between batches. Finally, match the machine type to your diet. If you mostly seal dry goods or steaks, a standard edge sealer is fine. But if you want to seal soups, stews, or wet marinades, standard section sealers will suck the liquid right out of the bag and ruin the motor. For liquids, you ideally want a chamber sealer, or at least a machine with a dedicated moist mode that handles juices carefully. With those tips in mind, let's start the countdown with number 5.
If you're just dipping your toes into sous vide cooking or meal prep and don't want to spend a fortune, the MEGAWISE VS6621 is your best starting point. Coming in at around the $30 mark, this unit proves you don't need to drop triple digits just to keep your freezer organized. Spec-wise, it pushes 80 kPa of suction power, which is surprisingly close to machines 3 times the price. But the real story here is the footprint. It's incredibly slim, roughly the size of a box of aluminum foil, meaning you can shove it in a kitchen drawer and forget about it until you need it. One user mentioned they specifically bought it because their apartment kitchen has 0 counter space, and this little guy tucks away perfectly. I tested this on dry goods, and it snaps the air out in about 10 to 20 seconds. It handles basics like chicken breast and veggies like a champ. However, let's keep it real about the limitations. It's lightweight, which is great for storage, but it means you have to use 2 hands to press down firmly on the lid to lock it. Also, don't expect to run a marathon with this. Reviews mention it needs a breather after about 10 consecutive seals to cool down. But if you're just sealing a few leftovers or a small grocery run, it's an absolute steal.
Next up, we have a household name that solved the biggest annoyance with vacuum sealers: storage. The FoodSaver VS0150 PowerVac is designed specifically for people who hate appliance clutter. The headline feature here is the vertical design. While most sealers sit flat and hog counter space, this unit flips up to store vertically, taking up about 40% less space than average models. It's perfect if you want to leave it on the counter for daily use without it getting in the way. One longtime user said they upgraded this from an older, bulky model just for the form factor, and it made their workflow so much smoother. It's not just about looks though. FoodSaver claims this model produces 35% less bag waste compared to their older units, because you can align the bag closer to the edge. Over a year, that actually saves you a decent amount of money on plastic rolls. The catch, the locking mechanism is stiff. A common theme in the reviews is that you really have to lean into it to get the lid to click shut. It's a bit of a workout, but once it's locked, the seal is consistent and reliable.
If you want a machine that does the thinking for you, the FRESKO V6 is the tech-forward choice. This unit sits in the $80 range and removes the manual labor that makes other machines annoying. The standout feature is the fully automatic operation. There is no lid to crush down or latches to wrestle with. You simply insert the bag into the slot, and the machine's optical sensors detect it, grab it, and start the vacuum cycle automatically. A user described it as idiot-proof, noting that it turned a tedious chore of viewing 20 bags of venison into a fun, fast process. It also features a double heat seal, which is usually reserved for much pricier units. This adds an extra layer of security so air doesn't sneak back in. The built-in bag roll storage and cutter are super convenient, letting you size bags on the fly without hunting for scissors. However, the automation can be a double-edged sword.
Because it grabs the bag automatically, you have less control if you need to adjust the food position at the last second. One review noted it's too automatic for delicate items where you might want to pause and reposition. But for speed and ease, this thing is a workflow hawker's dream. Check the description for the latest prices on these models.
This next pick is the secret weapon that professional chefs and serious hunters use. The Avid Armor USV32 isn't just a vacuum sealer, it's a chamber sealer. Unlike the other units on this list that suck air out of the bag, this machine sucks air out of the entire chamber. Here is why that matters. Liquids. With a standard sealer, if you try to seal soup or a juicy marinade, the liquid gets sucked into the machine, making a huge mess. With the USV32, the pressure remains equal, so the liquid stays put in the bag while the air vanishes. You can vacuum seal soups, cocktails, and heavy marinades instantly. One user called it a game changer, mentioning they can finally seal their homemade stocks and sauces without freezing them first. It's built like a tank with a stainless steel body and a heavy-duty glass lid. It sits at a premium price point of around $600, which is an investment, but for hunters or bulk preppers, it pays for itself by preventing food waste. It also has a marinade function that forces flavor into meat in minutes instead of hours. The downside is obvious. It's heavy, about 26 pounds, and takes up significant counter space. It's not something you tuck into a drawer. But if you want to seal literally anything, including liquids, there is simply no substitute.
Here it is, the undisputed champion of price to performance. The NESCO VS12 Deluxe takes the top spot because it bridges the gap between affordable home appliances and commercial-grade reliability. The killer feature here is the 130-watt double vacuum pump paired with a double heat seal. I cannot stress enough how important that double seal is. It creates two parallel seal lines on every bag. If one fails or gets greasy, the second one holds the line. Reviews are flooded with people calling it the FoodSaver killer, with one user noting they processed 50 bags of pulled pork and ribs back to back without the machine overheating or failing once. It gives you granular control with 3 seal settings, dry, moist, and double, and 2 pressure settings. This means you can clamp down on a steak or be gentle with a bun. The handle utilizes an easy lock system, so unlike the FoodSaver at number 4, you can operate this with one hand without needing to put your body weight on it. It sits comfortably in the $120 range, offering pro-level features without the pro-level price tag of the Avid Armor. Is it perfect? Well, it's a bit loud compared to the others, and the drip tray isn't removable, so you have to wipe it out. But for the sheer reliability and that insurance policy double seal, this is the one I'd buy with my own money. So there you have it. If you want the absolute best value and protection for your food, the NESCO VS12 at number 1 is the way to go. If you are dealing with liquids and have the budget, the Avid Armor at number 2 is a beast. And for a cheap compact solution, grab the MEGAWISE at number 5. Links to all these sealers are in the description below. Smash that like button if this saved you some cash, and subscribe for more no-nonsense rankings. Catch you in the next one.